enjoy it.
Hey everybody, my name's Winnie and, one sec. There we go. Like I was saying, my name is Winnie and this is my Inktober speed paint. And yes, I do mean, like, all of it. Yeah, this is gonna be a long video. I will be using this prompt list made by Perry Winky. If you're watching this, thanks for the inspiration. I had a lot of fun doing these. So now, to prevent this video from getting too long, let's just jump right into day one, Monstersona. So, I've never actually done an Inktober before, especially not in a speed paint. So I was a little bit lost as far as what to do for this first one. But since it was Monstersona, I decided it would be the most logical course of action to just kind of draw a self-portrait and see where it took me. You can see that I started with some general monster features like sharp teeth, pointed ears, and right there, the legs and tail. But there's also some stranger features like the eyes under the hair and the eye on the chest. And I incorporated those because I think, like a lot of artists, I have the ability to keenly observe my surroundings. And that includes emotionally. I'm good at empathizing with other people, hence the eye heart on the heart. the eye on the heart, I mean. As far as the fashion, I was just inspired by the way that I actually dress. And anybody who knows me knows that I am always wearing these kinds of socks. I'm very happy with how this one turned out. I think it's one of my favorites, and it was a good way to start the Inktober. So this one's a little strange because even though it's day 2, I actually drew it last out of all of the other drawings. And that's because I had the idea to draw basically my kitten, Spooky, as a little baby werewolf. But the first time I did it, I didn't really hit the mark, so I decided belatedly to go back and completely redo this drawing to make it look more werewolfy and less like I just forgot how to draw cats. So I like this one a lot better. I think it was a good call, and she is indeed a brat, which is why I wrote that on her shirt. She has this habit of like starting fights with her brother and then screaming whenever he retaliates. But I do have to admit, she makes a pretty cute werewolf. So up next is day 3, Vampire. For this one, I wanted to go a little outside the box on her appearance, kind of outside the normal vampire aesthetic. And I went for a more Nosferatu kind of vibe with her face. And unfortunately, right about here, I lose a decent amount of footage. I lost most of her line art process, which is a little bit annoying, but don't worry, you get to see the entire process of me spending way too much time on these deathly nightshade bushes, which I don't even think grow on bushes, actually. But yeah, I'm doing some lighting from the moon and on the bushes. This one I'm pretty indifferent about. I could have done worse, I could have done better. It works. Up next is day 4, Cyclops. This one I was excited about because it gave me a chance to draw one of my favorite characters from my comic strip that I do, Candy and Macaroon, which I will link in the description for anyone who's curious. This character's name is Flan, and it doesn't look like it here, but she's actually very large, almost 9 feet tall. So she's more a Cyclops in the ancient Greek portrayal of them. Like, that may look like a very small strawberry, but it's actually a decently large one. I had fun drawing her. I was happy that she came up as a prompt. And I always dress her in fruit-themed outfits. So when I was thinking about things to have her doing, strawberry picking just made sense. And there's the finished piece, but she is certainly not the last of my monster girls that you will see in this video. So next up is day 5, Siren. And this entry is the only monster boy on the list. This character is Silvertongue, a played by my friend Becca alongside me in my current campaign. And I'm going to be drawing my character later. But this character's name is Delmar. And obviously he is a siren, but he was not introduced to our party as one. It was actually a secret for a long time because he was able to take this human pirate form. But interestingly enough, he actually retained his singing powers, the ability to sway people and control them in his human form, which has come in very handy on many occasions. I still don't know much about this character since the campaign is ongoing, but he felt like a good addition to this Inktober, and I'm glad I had a chance to draw him in his siren form. So Becca, if you're watching this, thanks for letting me draw your boy. So much like day 4, this was a day that I saw an opportunity to draw one of the monster girls from my comic. This time I decided to go with Candy because she does have snake hair, because she's a Gorgon, which Medusa is the name of the person, but I kind of took the prompt as Gorgon instead. But obviously I didn't draw just Candy, because I draw her so much I thought it would be boring to just do her. So I also added her mother because her mother also has snakes for hair. But interestingly, Candy's mother is not a Gorgon like she is. Candy's mother is a Merilith, which I believe is a race that originated in Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm not entirely sure. They're super big and they have between 6 and 8 arms, but I thought 8 would be excessive, so I went with 6 arms for Candy's mom. As you can see, Candy is always dressed in these really complicated and sugary Decora outfits. It's really pronounced here next to her mom's more subtle, mature look. But I'm glad that I drew them together because it made this a lot more interesting for me to fully render her mom for the first time and also just draw them hanging out. It was fun. I like this one a lot. I think it's one of my favorites of the Inktober. And don't worry, you'll see Macaroon later. Up next is day 7, Scarecrow. And I don't know why, but I had a very clear image of what I wanted to do from the second I read this prompt for the first time. I thought it would be really funny to draw this cute little Scarecrow character, but the twist is she's terrified of birds. She just has a horrible phobia of birds. So she's not very good at her job, but she's doing her very best. I gave her kind of a hay texture in her hair and made it look like her skirt was packed full of hay. It's kind of like a bubble skirt. And I do feel bad for her. I think this one came out really cute and I do like it a lot. Poor girl, you'll get him next time. Alright, so day 8 is Demon, and surprise, it's another really weird one. I know I could have just drawn a chick with horns and a tail, but I didn't really feel like doing that, so I went full Eldritch Horror instead. As for the reasoning why, I don't know, man. I just felt like drawing something weird and creepy. But I did still give her a cute outfit, because I have an aesthetic to uphold, damn it. But her body, as you can see, is mostly made up of tendrils and eyes and tongues and stuff. I don't know what she is, I don't know where she came from. She's just hanging out, man. And I did decide to add a cool detail in her shadow where the eyes are all making eye contact while the eyes on the body are not. Overall, I like this one. I like that it wasn't probably what was expected, and I think she's pretty creepy. But probably nice if you get to know her. Next is day 9, Witch. So instead of doing the classical, old hag living in the forest type of witch, I decided to kind of vent through her a little bit, I guess, and make her a college student, indicated by her little hoodie that she has. And here you see her just waking up and going through her morning routine, levitating her plants around to take care of them. But her morning is not going to be helped by the fact that she is pouring her coffee into a plant while taking a sip of her growth serum instead. She's so tired. Save her. I can relate. I like this one. It's pretty simple, but I like the detail that I was able to add. And I wish her luck on her witch midterms. Next is day 11, slime. And this one ended up being, if not my favorite of all of them, definitely one of my favorites of the whole series. And you'll probably see why in a second. So I'm just starting with a basic slime girl outline, and she is wearing actual clothes. But here is the interesting part. I decided to give her a skeleton that you could see underneath her slime. And I think that came out so cool, and along with the gummy bears just kind of floating around inside of her, I think she just absorbs them. This definitely is one of my favorites of all of them. I actually liked it so much, I even went back and colored it. The skeleton doesn't show through as much though. So day 12 is Succubus, and this is one of the only ones that actually stumped me for a little bit. I had to wait a while and think about it before I actually came back and drew the whole thing. But I decided to make this a really small and pudgy character who, with some exaggerated features and some downsized, like her hands and feet are very small along with her nose. And that is a human heart that she is eating. But personally, I've always preferred the version of a succubus that if you do summon them, they do what you'd expect, but also will definitely kill and eat you afterwards. So I gave her a little magazine to be reading. It's like a swimsuit magazine. She's probably browsing for new forms to take to seduce weak-willed mortals. I like how she came out. I think she's cute. So you may have noticed that I skipped day 10 originally, but I actually did that on purpose because I wanted to draw days 10, 13, and 14 together because the prompts were ghost, skeleton, and zombie, which are basically the same thing. They're just kind of different levels of being dead, I guess. As for zombie, I went more towards Frankenstein's monster because that is technically a zombie. And I didn't want to make it too gross. But yeah, I just wanted to draw these three characters like hanging out and bonding over being dead people, I guess. The Frankenstein monster is kind of just picking at her stitches nervously. She was really fun to draw because it was interesting to combine a bunch of different hair textures and body types and skin tones and things like that. It was a fun experiment. And the skeleton was also extremely fun to draw. I had so much fun drawing her with all her little ruffles and her like ribs and everything. I was able to put a lot of detail into her, and I think she's one of my favorite characters out of all of them, even though this piece, I like this piece, but she in particular stands out to me as the highlight of it. So this one I actually did decide to color in just a little bit, with gray tones obviously, but it felt incomplete with just the lines, so I gave it a little bit more color. But yeah, I like how this one came out. This undead gal being undead pals. So here's day 15, which is Alien. As you can see, I decided to go for a very thin figure for this alien. This one I actually drew very fast. I don't know why, but I guess I just had a very solid concept and just kind of busted it out. But she ended up kind of gray alien-esque, kind of praying mantis-esque. A lot of different things went into her design, but I think they all worked together pretty well. And of course, I couldn't resist the aesthetic of putting a little galaxy under her dress. I think this one is cool. She looks very regal. Maybe she's a princess. So that's 15 Monster Girls down, which leaves 16 to go. I'm gonna actually go ahead and end this video here because I don't want it to get too terribly long. I know it's not super interesting to listen to me talk for 30 minutes, so I've decided to split it up into 2 parts. So stay tuned for part 2 coming very soon, where I finish my Inktober speed paint. You're definitely going to want to stick around. Some of my better drawings are in the second half because I was all caught up and not so rushed. Like I said earlier, I will leave the link to my comic strip if you want to read it in the comments. I will also be linking all the music that I used and all the art and video editing programs that I used to make this video. But yeah, thanks for watching. Part 2 should be up in the next couple weeks. See you then!